What would removing gear score and tiered loot look like from Ghost Recon Breakpoint? Let's break it down today on Get Squad Gaming. Many felt the system didn't belong and it felt tacked on, adding needless complexity with little functionality in the space of the game. A player could ignore almost all of it and accomplish all tasks in the game with ease, even on the hardest difficulty on a level 2 or 3 gear score. So why have it?
Right, so if the gear score was taken out, what all would it change? So if it doesn't really affect too much, then an argument could be made as to why mess with it in the first place. Well, you got to understand that with it gone, no longer do you have to deconstruct for parts or remake weapons. When you pick up a blueprint, that's yours. All you got to do is go to the shop or fix that system altogether and you have that weapon. So you're still going to be able to look for your attachments, you're still going to be able to look for your weapon parts. Except you're not going to be spending that time in the menus, you're not going to be sitting crafting. I think if any of y'all have been playing Breakpoint, you know there's those times where after you clear a base, you got 2 people or 4 people who aren't moving because they're in their menus deconstructing, or they're moving parts around, or they're looking at what they got, and a lot of that time is going to be gone. But we are going to be talking about maybe some systems that can take its place, so that instead of there being busy work, you're getting meaningful rewards that are also attached to how you play the game. Wes?
Yeah, I completely agree, Jake. One thing that I did want to point out is if you remove the gear score and the tiered loot, you would have to put a system in place to replace that progression. So what I mean is, if you take all that stuff out, a system that would really need to kind of shine and grow is gonna be that class system. Right now, you've got levels 1 through 10. You have rewards attached to each level as you level up. And once you get to level 10, for that class, that's pretty much it. And it can be done fairly easy. I know there's 4 classes in the game, but a lot of those challenges can be done fairly quickly, and those rewards are, they're not that impactful. I do like the exclusive weapon idea for each class, but here's an idea. And me and Jake talked about this last night. Instead of you going through levels 1 through 10 on Assault or Panther, instead of 1 through 10, it actually goes up to levels from 1 to 50. And with each level adding something unique, something substantial to that class. For example, an Assault class would have a impactful, now guys, we're not just talking about a run-of-the-mill perk that the Assault class has, a substantial perk and ability that this class has, and even weapon that this class has, that actually affects the game in a large way. You keep doing that all the way up to level 50. Now what Jake just said earlier is all gear score showed was really time in the game, and that's true. It's not a measure of skill. Being gear score level 252 is saying, hey, I have this many hours in the game. It doesn't really gauge that person's skill. But what this class system does is, and the higher that this number goes, the harder that those challenges are going to be to level up to the next level. What that does is it actually gauges a player's skill. So I don't know Jack, I don't know him from any other player out here. I'm in Erewhon and I see this guy and he's a level 50 Assault class Ghost. I'm like, all right, man, this guy knows his stuff. He's been there, he's done that. I want that guy in my squad because he's been grinding, he's been working. I know he knows what he's doing.
I agree. Extending out the class system from a cap of 10 to 50 to 200 to whatever score they deem would be a good replacement for that busy work you're currently doing would offer you some sort of reward to how you're playing the game. Currently, if you go from gear score 1 to gear score 252, you're not getting anything but a number. Whereas on your class system, what he was talking about is not only are you getting cosmetics, but you're getting perk bonuses. You're getting things that are allowing you to play your class better. So maybe as you go up, those perks increase in the amount that they help you in playing that class. So when you come into me in matchmaking, in a raid, or whatever, and I'm able to see your gear class level in that top right hand corner instead of just a gear score number, it's not an empty number anymore. You actually had to work for that. You actually had to be proficient in your class, and you got rewarded for it, which I think is a good system. Now, when we're talking about bonuses and we're talking about builds and we're talking about what exists in the game, so if you're not already tracking, you could have a pair of pants that give you regen speed to your stamina. You could have body armor that allows you a certain percentage of damage deduction from explosives or from enemy fire, stuff like that. A lot of people like that aspect of the game. A lot of people like to be able to build stuff or to have those perks to supplement their gameplay. Now, with the removal of tiered loot and with the removal of the gear score system, that doesn't have to go away. You can still have that stuff for your attachments. So an ACOG on a rifle gives you a certain standardized bonus to accuracy. When you have a bipod on the weapon, it gives you a certain standardized increase to weapon stability and bullet spread, but it decreases your mobility, just like we used to have for Future Soldier, just like we used to have for Wildlands. I know they're two different games, but we're still talking how those systems did work in the past. When we're talking about that stuff, what we could use, now don't freak out, is the re-rolling system that existed for not Ghost Recon, but Tom Clancy's The Division. Now, I know we kind of got into this trouble in the first place by taking systems from The Division. Right, I know it's not going to jive with a lot of people, especially if you didn't like The Division and you didn't get into re-rolling gear, which is what I'm talking about. But essentially what it is you have a piece of equipment. Now, I'm not saying you have a bunch of pieces of equipment. I'm not talking about 200 hats here. You have one thing that you like, and you want to make that piece of equipment better than what it is. So, essentially, you have a patrol cap here, and you have a watch cap here. But you really like wearing the watch cap, but the standardized rolling on that fast helmet or on that patrol cap is better than your watch hat, because you don't want to assign certain percentage values to items, because everyone's going to start to figure out what the meta is, and then we're all going to look the same. So how you stop that is you've been playing the game, you've been getting your class leveling up from 50 to 200 or whatever it is, and you've still been getting skill credit. Well, what do you do with that skill credit? Why not use it to re-roll that item for better perks attached to that item and a percentage increase?
And I like that because I'm sorry. So I like that because that actually means that a Panther is going to have to play like a Panther class. That Panther class can't take that much explosive damage or can't soak up that much, that many bullets like the Assault class can. That Assault class is going to, a lot of those perks need to be attached to damage resistance, to explosive resistance and stuff like that. A lot of the Panthers class perks have to be attached to, being stealthy, movement speed, handling with SMGs and stuff. That's in the game right now, but it's not exclusive to that class. So I do like that you kind of brought up that point about the perks being attached to the class and not the gear.
The only thing I could possibly make an argument for is that for people who have grinded to that 252 gear score, there probably does need to be something to compensate them for their time. If they wake up tomorrow and all of a sudden it's gone, I would like for them to have a massive amount of skill credit waiting for them. There needs to be something that's in the game, whether it's in-store credit or something, to compensate those people for their time, and not just the people who hit 252. If you have a gear score, there should be a X amount of multiplier applied to you, some sort of formula that's going to reward you for your playtime if that system just vanishes.
If removing that gear score and tiered loot, rewarding the players with something like scale credits. Now, mind you, if they are going to give somebody scale credits, somebody that's level 252 cannot get the same amount as someone that's, level 68 or 78. And there needs to be some sort of formula in place that, hey, if he's got this much, this is how much scale credits this lower guy's gonna get. With that being said, if they are going to go towards a more scale credit based system, there's gotta be systems, items, stuff in the game, whether it's gonna be in Maria's shop or the actual game's microtransaction store, whatever. There has to be a substantial amount of stuff added to the game for players to spend those skill credits on. Well, that's going to be it for us. Let us know what you guys think in the comments below. Should the gear score system stay or should it go? I'm Get Wrecked.
I'm Get Jack. Treat 'em rough.
We'll see you next time.